Deep down, I knew something about my life felt wrong, but I kept ignoring the signs because changing direction terrified me more than staying miserable.
Welcome back to God Showed Up Stories. Tonight's story is for anyone who has ever ignored the quiet warning signs in life because fear, comfort, pride, or uncertainty made it easier to stay where they were. Sometimes God doesn't scream. Sometimes he whispers. Through exhaustion. Through discomfort. Through loss of peace. Through relationships that slowly break us down. Through doors that keep closing. Through the quiet feeling deep inside that says, "This is not the life you were meant to live." And if you've ever ignored those signs, hoping things would somehow fix themselves, this story is for you. Before we begin, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this story with someone who may need encouragement tonight. And comment below. Have you ever realized later that God was warning you about something all along? Never forget this. God's warnings are rarely meant to destroy us. They're usually meant to redirect us before deeper damage happens.
Looking back now, the signs were everywhere, but at the time, I kept convincing myself everything was fine. I was in my early 30s working a job that paid well enough, living a lifestyle that looked successful from the outside, and surrounding myself with people who constantly encouraged me to chase more money, more status, and more distractions. And honestly, part of me enjoyed it at first. The attention, the fast pace, the feeling of constantly moving. But underneath all of it, something inside me slowly started feeling unsettled. At first, it was small things. I stopped feeling peaceful. I became irritated constantly. I started waking up exhausted even after sleeping. I ignored calls from family more often. I stopped praying consistently. And the version of myself I was becoming started feeling unfamiliar. But instead of slowing down and paying attention, I distracted myself even more. More work, more noise, more spending, more pretending. Deep down, I knew I wasn't happy. But I kept telling myself, once life settles down, I'll fix things. The problem was, life never slowed down. And neither did the warning signs. Relationships started becoming strained. People who genuinely cared about me quietly tried reaching out. My mother once told me, "You don't seem like yourself anymore." I laughed it off. But honestly, her words stayed with me longer than I admitted. Then there were moments where opportunities I desperately wanted kept falling apart unexpectedly. At the time, I viewed every closed door as bad luck. But looking back now, I think God was trying to redirect me before I completely lost myself. Still, I ignored it because changing direction felt terrifying. I had built my entire identity around this version of life. Walking away from it felt like failure. Then slowly, the emotional exhaustion became impossible to hide. I remember one particular night, driving home alone, after another meaningless party surrounded by people who barely knew the real me. Music played softly through the speakers, while city lights blurred outside the windshield. And for the first time in years, I admitted something painful to myself. I felt empty, not tired, empty, like I had spent years feeding every part of my life, except my soul. That realization scared me emotionally, because outwardly, I looked successful. But internally, I felt disconnected from God, disconnected from peace, and disconnected from who I truly was. Around that season, little moments kept happening that I couldn't fully ignore anymore. Conversations that felt strangely personal. Random scriptures appearing repeatedly. A growing discomfort every time I entered certain environments. Anxiety that became stronger whenever I ignored my conscience. And strangely enough, peace only returned during quiet moments where I slowed down enough to actually hear my own thoughts again. One afternoon, I visited an older mentor figure I had not spoken with in a while. We sat outside on his porch while the sun slowly started setting. At one point, I admitted, "I think I've been ignoring signs from God for a long time." He nodded gently before saying something I'll never forget. Most people don't suddenly wake up far from God. They slowly drift there while ignoring small warnings along the way. That sentence hit me deeply Because that's exactly what had happened. I didn't ruin my peace overnight. I ignored it little by little. Ignored exhaustion. Ignored conviction. Ignored unhealthy relationships. Ignored spiritual emptiness. Ignored the loss of joy. Ignored the quiet feeling that something needed to change. And honestly, I think many people do the same thing. Not because they're bad people, but because change feels uncomfortable. Staying distracted often feels easier than facing truth. Over the following months, I slowly started rebuilding my life differently. Not perfectly, but intentionally. I distanced myself from environments that constantly drained me spiritually. I started praying again honestly for the first time in years. I spent more time alone with God instead of constantly surrounding myself with noise. I reconnected with family. I started protecting my peace more carefully. And slowly, something inside me began healing. The anxiety started easing. The emptiness started lifting. The version of myself I thought I had lost slowly started returning again. Not because life suddenly became perfect, but because I finally stopped fighting the direction God was trying to lead me toward. Eventually, I realized something emotional. God's signs are often quieter than people expect. They usually don't arrive through dramatic lightning bolt moments. Sometimes they come through loss of peace, constant exhaustion, conviction, repeated closed doors, toxic relationships, feeling spiritually disconnected, the quiet voice inside saying, "This path is hurting you." And maybe someone watching tonight needs to hear this too. If you constantly feel drained, restless, disconnected, emotionally heavy, spiritually empty, don't ignore that feeling. Sometimes God allows discomfort because He's trying to guide you somewhere healthier, somewhere safer, somewhere more aligned with the life you were truly meant to live. And one day, you may look back and realize the warning signs were never punishment. They were love. God was trying to save you before life broke you even further.
If this story touched your heart today, comment below. I'm listening to God's direction. And if you've been feeling unsettled in life lately, please remember this. Sometimes losing peace is the first sign that God is trying to lead you somewhere better. Take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this story with someone who may need encouragement tonight. Thank you for spending this time with God Showed Up Stories. And always remember, God always shows up right on time.